dogs, especially right now, they are not only intuitive, but they are very, very psychic, and they're becoming more psychic than you would ever know. Like they could probably read your mind better than you can read theirs. They are becoming more and more intelligent in that regard. So they're understanding to the level of a 2-year-old. Okay, yay. Michael?
Well, yeah, I'm here. And all
Okay.
I can say is, wow. I know Missy's got to be saying, wow. I've got, I was taking notes too. I mean, come on. I don't know how anyone can go through this and not want to have a session with Tam.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. I've got a lot of questions here, but I'm going to hold off on that because I know we're going to be doing a follow up again down the road here. Because I know you, Emma, I know you've got some questions about your dog, and I'm anxious to hear about those. So, what did you have that you wanted to ask Tam about?
Thank you so much, Tam. You're amazing. And I just can't help. I would love if you have time just to ask a question or two about my dog. Well, I have a dog. She's 3 years old and I live in Texas. So I mean there's so many things in Texas. I think Missy would know that we have to deal with. One of the things, of course, is like it's flea season. It's also super hot out. And I've just noticed when I take her out for walks, there's just, every other week there seems to be like something else. But one thing that's been consistent is she finds she's just, and it's actually gotten more so, is she's eating grass a lot. And now she's like transitioning to like, oh, here's a leaf of some kind or something. And she's just ingesting that. And then also there's things, sometimes on the sidewalks that she sees and picks up and starts chewing. And we're like, is that a chicken bone or what it is? And it's just like, so then like the next day she'll not go to the bathroom regularly. So it's just like, I just want to, but one of the things is also, I want to check to see if there's any gastrointestinal issues that you can, if you can do a energy scan on my dog, and then also check for to see if there's any parasites. That's something I'm concerned with. I mean, it's hard to know if it's signs, if there's some signs to look for, if that's something that I need to, address, because if I heard fleas can carry parasites, things that are picked, on the sidewalks that the dog starts chewing. We don't know. So if you don't mind doing a scan on my dog, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let me take a peek here. And it's Bobby Lee. Is that
Yes. Yes.
okay? There's definitely something going on in her whole sacral chakra. So dogs have a chakra system kind of like we do. She I'm definitely seeing some issues there. It's what I would call it's kind of wobbling, if you will. So we can work on that. I can actually do some work there for her. So we'll do a little energy work. I know it's hard to ask her how she's feeling while we're doing that. So I'm not obviously we don't have to worry about that too much. But I'll do that for her. We don't have to do that right now, but I will do that for her, and then I'll check in with you to see if she's having some different changes going on from that, because I think if we balance her energetically, that will assist in some of the things. But I'm saying some because there are some other issues. So as I'm looking through and doing a scan on her, I am seeing definite digestive disorder there. Um, what I keep hearing from her team Okay. So there's some different things in her plumbing that's actually, and I keep getting the word tied up. So there's something that's twisted itself. I'm trying to understand exactly what it is. I haven't seen this before, so bear with me. It could be, I'm checking to see if it's a parasite, which that could be. There's a link there. It's okay, that's exactly what it is. So, yes, I am seeing a parasite. I would do a couple of things for her, similar to what I mentioned to Missy. I would look at some of the natural. Hang on, I'm checking her in one area, so bear with me for just a minute because I'm trying to see if oil of oregano would work for her or if we want to go a different route. When I balance her chakra, when I actually go in and start to do energy work, I'm going to do what I would call a kinesiology test on her from the energetic side. What I'm trying to understand, because I'm not getting this clearly right now, there's something that's affecting her intestinal wall. This is why I'm seeing this tied up thing. Something's twisted in her intestine. It it's not life threatening, so let me take that out of the mix for you because I can feel your anxiousness around it. It's she's going to be fine, but there is something that is affecting her specifically in her intestinal wall, and I do believe it's a parasite that's kind of caused this. Once we get rid of that parasite, the body will kind of heal through. So what I'm looking at is which is going to be the best for her. So olive leaf might work really well for her. So I want to look at that because again, that is antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, all that stuff. Um, with dogs, I know that some of the things we would use for a parasite cleanse would be different.
Can I ask you,
Yeah,
to
go
also
ahead.
check on fenbendazole? Because there are over-the-counter things, and that seems to be a very popular ingredient for dewormers and things like that
Mhm.
for dogs. Do you get any?
Fenbendazole, yeah, that's a good question. I am getting that could work for her. But what I am getting is try more natural first because fenbendazole is made in a lab. So that is my understanding. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm getting. So what I would do is I'm actually getting, and this is why I want to check, I'm getting golden seal might actually work to help with because it almost feels like a digestive infection, and that's why I'm wondering if this is caused by that. So sometimes I get a specific answer, and sometimes I'm getting so much information. I need to sit with my team and get very specific, and that could take an hour to pull it all, out into um, a longer answer for you. That would be, very specific to what you could do. But I'm initially kind of getting that golden seal powder might work. Um, I'm getting some of the other things we talked about, like the oil of oregano would be pretty helpful for that. So there are some things. So I would say in regard to that, because hers seems to be very intricate, and I think it's because of the fact that the parasite, whatever it is, I'm going to assume it's some sort of a worm that's kind of tangled in something in that intestine or has buried itself in the intestine is probably a better way to put it. But it can be taken care of. It can be removed. That will help her immensely because what it's doing is it's causing more of a systemic reaction in her gut, which I suspect is the reason why I'm seeing that her sacral is off as far as why it's wobbly in her chakra is because her system is trying to balance and it's having a heck of a time balancing the physical because of this. So it's almost like it's overworking on the energetic side because it keeps trying to balance her. It's like if we were trying to start a car and you heard the starter kind of keep going and keep going, we'd burn it out eventually because there's not enough lift there. There's not the electrical charge. So what's happening with her is kind of similar thing. It hasn't gone out. It's still working. It's just that it's so wobbly that we need to correct both. So when I go in to do the energy work, that'll be one thing. I'll get a little clearer picture. And then what we can do is I'll determine I'll ask what specifics would be the better way for her to go, as far as like, is it olive leaf? Is it golden seal? Or is it all of the above? Can we take care of it with some essential oils? Because we could potentially do a little bit of that and even rub it on her belly too. So there are things we can do. I mean, for certain things, even garlic is good. And I know that garlic has gotten a bad rap out there for dogs, but it's actually fine. You just have to do it in a certain way and, the with the right amount. There are things that we could look at. So at this point, like I said, uh, don't worry so much that it's causing a huge issue. We're going to take care of it. The one thing I do want to mention that I think you can do right away that would help her um, is before you take her on a walk, because I do see her picking up stuff all the time. To your point, there's two things going on. First of all, she's trying to eat the leaves in the grass because she's trying to intuitively find a way to take care of her gut. That's what animals do, right? They're going to try and find greens just like we would to rid the problem. So she can probably feel it. There's certain nutrients she is going to be attracted to. That's why she's eating more and more foliage, if you will, or flowers, that kind of thing, or plants. Dogs obviously will like to taste everything, and sometimes more than others. They can get themselves into trouble by doing that. But before you take her out for a walk, I would take a little lavender, um, wipe your hands with it. Not much because it doesn't need to be strong. You could even do like a little lavender and some water, or the spray that I'll have posted that I talked about earlier in the show with Missy. You could take something like that as a spray, kind of spray it either on her paws or near her nose or mouth, like maybe underneath her chin where she gets a little smell of it. So what happens, it's going to throw off her smell a tiny bit for when she takes a walk so that that chicken bone or whatever she comes across isn't going to smell as good. And she may not want to pick it up and eat it, right? She'll do her business. She's going to still sniff around. She's not going to like it, I'll tell you that. But um, it could be the thing that starts to train her to not go out and start looking for food when she's outside. So let me ask you this too, because this can make a difference. It sounds strange. When you walk her, does she walk in front of you or do you walk with her on the side of her?
Oh, she walks in front
Okay.
and I'm
Because
taking behind.
Okay. Because I mean, I know that happens with my dog. I know it's not the best because what tends to happen is that when dogs walk in front of you, then they feel that they're in control and they're the ones who are calling the shots, right? It's kind of like an alpha move, right? But if you are to walk beside them and you pull on them so that you're only walking beside them, you start to train them that they are equals to you and not in a hierarchy, if you will. And when that happens, you can control a little bit more what's going on outside when you walk with them than when you don't. When you walk with them, if they're alongside of you and you kind of pull on their leash to walk with you. So if they stop, you stop. If you stop, you make sure that they stop, as opposed to letting them take the lead. They start to retrain to understand that you are equals and that there's a different pattern that's being established to how they live their life with you. You have more control over what they're doing outside. I know it sounds strange. I do remember somewhere along the line, I want to say the dog whisperer, Caesar Milan, is that his name? Caesar?
Yes.
If you look this up, I think he mentions it somewhere that it really helps train your dog during these times when you start to change the way you walk with them. Look into that. I don't know all the specifics. I don't follow Cesar Millan. I'm sure he's great, but I know his name. I know people like him a lot. He has a lot of really great things. I think he's very intuitive, if not psychic himself, and that's why he's so good at what he does. Take a look there. I think there's something there in regards to trying to get her to stay with you while you walk. There's multiple reasons why this would be good for what you're going through with her right now is that she will have to pay attention more to what she's doing. You'll be able to see more what she's getting into. Because she's doing more and more of that, this is a way that you can at least start right now to try and control what she's doing. And I think that is going to help you as you move into the future with her because she's only 3. So you have lots of time to still train her. If we were talking about an older dog, mine's 15, Missy's 12, right? So it's harder to train a dog who's older, who's geriatric. They still might be here till they're 20, but they're still geriatric. So we need to kind of look at those differences. For you, it's a little different because Bobby Lee's younger. So you're in a place where you could really train her well by just doing a couple little things like that. And that's important. Also, does someone in your household feed her scraps from the table?
No, not that I'm aware of. And I'm pretty, persistent. Like we don't do that. So,
Okay, that's
but I
good.
don't know what I don't know what happens when I'm not looking.
Okay, I totally get that. So you might want to have that conversation and see if there's anything going on like that and just say, hey, we need to make sure. It could be that I see her picking up food from the floor. So it could be that something just has dropped. And so she's taking advantage, as any dog would do. But there seems to be something there that is, she's getting into a bad habit, or that's part of it. She thinks she can eat anything she wants to. So we need to break that habit somehow because it's one thing to correct what we're correcting now, and you can go through, we'll do the energy work, we'll do hopefully some of the things that we talked about, like whether it's golden seal or whatever works from the parasite side. We can do all that, we can clean it up. But once we get to that point, what we also want to do is make sure we're not going back into the same thing after we're done cleaning it up. And I keep seeing that it's important to try and work with her on this right now, to train her while we can be so you don't have a problem in the future. Because I do see that she will take this to the next level. There's a possibility that she will start eating so many things that aren't good for her, like poisonous plants. And that's going to be tough because you may not know what that poisonous plant would be. I know I don't know all the plants out there that are poisonous for my dog. So really the key right now is we want to be preventative as well as taking care of her where she's at. Might take a moment to get her into a little different habit. It's going to be a little hard maybe in the beginning for the first week, maybe 2, to get you to make sure she's staying at your side. I know that's not an easy way to walk a dog. So there's different ways to do it, but those types of things are important so that she knows you're the one who's controlling the situation. Because right now she's just feeling that, oh, she's the one in the family who we all, cater to. So that means she's the alpha and she gets to do whatever she wants to do and eat what she wants to eat, which is the situation right now. Part of it's because of the parasite, because that parasite's eating her food in her system. So she's wanting to eat other things to fix that. Intuitively, she knows that, but it's not going to do it if she eats the wrong thing. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm going to have to do I'm going to have to do a little digging on that one just because I want to make sure you have the best outcome for her. So bear with me on that one, but I will get back to you on that, I promise.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. What
I,
else? What else is there anything else with her that's going on?
I think you touched on a lot of different things. So I mean, I'm going to take that to heart. And you're right. She's 3 years old, and I think we can sometimes forget. Sometimes we let her like lead and walk in front, just because I'm a dog mom, and so I just want her to be happy and have fun on her walks. But yeah, the main thing is it's good to know that it's something that can be taken care of, but the main thing is to try to prevent it happening again in the future, and that takes changing habits. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that I would bring up that probably would help a lot of people, and I know this is important for her right now too. So we're all guilty of this. I know I've been guilty of this, is we start to treat our dogs like humans. The problem is when we treat our dogs like humans, they think they're a human. And to a degree, I mean, they know they look different, but we do that. And I know I'm seeing Missy and Michael are laughing here. So we do this, right? But the thing is it's actually not good for our dogs. It really isn't. And so what happens is they feel that's why she feels she can eat. Oh, I can do what I want to do because I'm independent and I'm curious and she's getting older. And so she's out of her puppy stage, but now she's, a little older than a teen, right? So she's, I'm in my 20s. I'm
Yeah.
going to go out there and see what's in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, since they don't go to a bar, and at least the last I checked, they don't go to a bar, to explore their favorite puppy cocktail, whatever that looks like. What they're doing is they're going out and they're exploring in their world the way that they feel is important to them and what they can get away with. So, what happens if we treat them like a human and we've seen this and they're cute and they're funny, and I get a giggle out of it every time. You see people who are sitting their pets in chairs at the table at a restaurant and they're eating from a plate. Okay, it is hilarious. I love it. It's fun. But honestly, it's really not the way those dogs should be. If we really want the dog to be in their element and in their joyful happiness, they should be able to be in an organic, natural state, right? So, as much as we have fun with that, and like I said, I'm not judging here at all. I mean, I am the first person to see one of those. I'll send them to friends. Oh my gosh, isn't this cute? But truly, at the end of the day, we know it's not healthy for them. So, the key is you do your best. You chat with your dog. I mean, we actually can talk to our pets. I know I mentioned this briefly with Missy, and I know I didn't go into a whole lot of it, but I would also say this about Bobby Lee. Um, Dogs, right, especially right now, they are not only intuitive, but they are very, very psychic, and they're becoming more psychic than you would ever know. Like they could probably read your mind better than you can read theirs. So, what's incredibly important right now is if we can at least understand it to the best of our ability, then for us to sit down and connect with them on a level where if you have to, we have human conversations, I understand that, but they don't have the element of conversation like we do, right? They don't understand all these words. They understand some of them, but they don't certainly have a huge vocabulary. Now, they are becoming more and more intelligent in that regard. I think the last I remember hearing that most dogs now are like a 2 year old. So they're understanding to the level of a 2 year old. Probably depends on the size of the dog, the breed of the dog, but technically we're kind of around that. So there's intelligence there. Animals are getting to that stage of higher consciousness. So think of your dog that way. You think of Bobby Lee as, hey, I'm a being here. I'm not just your pet. I can be talked to. So the best way that I can suggest kind of connecting with your animals is because for the most part they're going to see in an image, right? They'll see like if you have a challenge with a dog that, let's just say he's pooping on the floor inside and he shouldn't be, right? You might want to just sit down as you're petting him and giving him some love. You visualize that dog pooping outside, okay? Um, the more you visualize it, they actually can catch and understand the visual. So they understand that, oh, I'm supposed to go outside. So there's a lot of research that has been done on this. I probably don't have anything in my files that I could send or post at this point. If I can find something, I'll send it. But I would say as a parent, as a pet owner, whenever you can practice those things with your animal, you will be surprised at how well it works. So, for now, especially for Bobby Lee, she is very, very intuitive, very psychic. And if you just sit with her and start visualizing more and more that when she goes outside, don't eat things unless you give it to her, right? So you can visualize an X, or you can visualize yourself pulling on her leash back, all from a visual. And eventually, it might take a little time. Some animals are very fast. And again, if they're psychic, they'll pick up on it right away, and you will be blown away at the changes. But I would say if you at least start it, give yourself a chance to kind of go through the motions of what that might feel like. You'll develop your own intuitive abilities along with the dog. And then that way, the two of you are learning how to communicate in a very different way. And then all of a sudden, they will start to tell you what they need when they need it. My dog recently has changed completely because I started paying attention to a scenario with him where it's strange. I don't even know how it happened, but I can tell you the phone would ring and he will come get me now to make sure that I'm picking up the phone. And so as they change and as they grow, it's the same thing for you guys. Really connect with whatever it is that you need to teach them or that you need them to pay attention to, and use that to kind of be your kickoff to this new communication style and see what you can do. Because I think that there's a lot of change happening so fast right now that you will be very surprised. And again, the energetics out there in the world are supporting the consciousness change all the way around. Animals are consciously shifting first because they are built closer to the natural world we've shut ourselves off to. So you will find a resolve quicker in an animal than you will in a human. So we're the ones who have to be trained. It's actually the other way around. But check on that on those pieces. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I think animals are magical and wonderful, and if we can learn to understand their worlds more than us forcing them to understand ours, you're going to have all of us will have an amazing experience that we'd never had even thought could have happened. So you're on your way, and Bobby Lee's going to be great. I'll check back with you in regards to what might be best for her, and then I'll help you monitor. We'll do a check-in, like I will with the rest of the team here, and we'll just see where it goes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Wow.
That's great.
How's
What a
everyone
wealth of
doing?
information there. Yes.
Definitely.
Any questions from the team before we shift gears at all?
I have too many to even get started here. It's another show.
Okay, we can do that. We'll do another show because we do need to do some updates from you. I'd like to hear.
Yes.
And I know we've been talking for a while here. So no last questions. Anything that I can help with before we depart?
Not that I can think of, other than me psychically telling my dogs to get in and stop barking. I'll picture a red X. Like, no, I'll give that a try. I have been psychically trying to tell them to stop, but so far they're not getting it. But I'll keep trying.
They're just saying hello. I haven't actually heard them from here, so your mic isn't picking them up. So you're good.
Oh, they've been snoring.
Oh, have they been snoring? Oh, good.
Yeah, they're happy.
Oh, good. Good.
Thanks
Emma?
again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Emma, what about you? Anything there?
No, I was just thinking that the whole telepathic communication is great. I was doing that at the beginning when I was practicing that because I know, I just stare into her eyes and just try to send messages. I know it might sound funny unless, for people who don't have pets, but I'm going to practice that more, just like Missy said and you were mentioning, and take some of the tips and guidance you gave and implement them.
Definitely.
I do have one quick I'd squeeze in there if I could, Tam.
Sure.
Well, because Missy brought it, about the food. Because I've switched, my dog over, Issa, a couple times. I did have her on, when she was younger, on a raw food diet for quite a while. She got to where she wouldn't eat it anymore. And recently, just because not knowing which way to go, I've had her on Fresh Pet, like Missy brought up, but I'm not real crazy about it, although she loves it. And since food, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of other things that, on our follow up we could do, but food is something I wouldn't mind changing right away. Is there something? What is your recommend? There's so much out there between raw food diets and then cooked. If you make their own food, I've even heard even chicken can be an allergy for dogs, for certain dogs. And I don't know without getting her tested if she has any food allergies in specific. But I'd like to know what. I'm not big on kibble. I did do kibble when she was a puppy, but I've always tried to stay away from kibble. And that's probably why I do fresh pet of it. So I think fresh pet might even be better than kibble. I have this thing that kibble is just the death because I know
Right.
ever since we've switched over to kibble as a society, dogs' lives have shortened up dramatically. Versus like when I was a kid and there was no kibble. It was really a big shift when kibble really came on mainstream. But what is good? what do you, give me some options on food.
Oh gosh. So that is a great question. And I think it's a difficult one in regards to what everyone's, again, going through because every individual is different, just like every individual dog. So it's hard to give a blank statement for those listening to say raw food is good or raw food is bad. It's not really that at all because some animals do great with it and some of them do not. So I would say right now, based on the fact, because she's older too, right?
Yeah, she's 12.
Yeah. So I like to factor in what's happening with the pet and what brings them the most joy during especially a geriatric time period in their life. Now, smaller dogs, like your dog is smaller, usually smaller dogs live longer, right?
Yes,
So she, they 20 years probably. I definitely heard of Malteses lasting that long. So I
they
don't
can.
know.
15 is average, I think, for a
Is average?
Maltese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here's a question. How is she doing on the fresh pet?
I would say good up until now, till the recent issue. And being
Okay.
they want to say, and I know we've talked about the allopath. I'll put it this way: the allopathic diagnosis seems, they want to blame it on the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she loves the food. I haven't had any specific issues with it um, that I can pinpoint. But then when she was on the raw food diet, there wasn't any issues there either. Other than she just got bored, tired of it. She does tend to get bored and tired of food after a while. The fresh pet, she hasn't. I make sure I get the on the beef one, the 100 that's grass fed and everything that. But she likes it. I prefer fresh pet over kibble, even your high end kibbles, which I did have her on that you get at the pet stores. To me, it's just kibble is kibble. It's still highly processed, highly
Mm-hmm.
cooked and dried out, and I just don't like kibble. I just
Yeah.
don't. I know some vets. My daughter's very holistic with her dog. She mixes half and half, but between raw food and kibble. And that's just it. There, you can
Mm-hmm.
go no matter who you talk to, you're going to get a different answer. Everybody has a different meal plan for their animals.
Always. Yeah.
you
Always.
know, there's cooking your own and doing your own, and that's something that's kind of entered my radar. Maybe it's time to switch over that and just start cooking up my own stuff. But there again, you got turkey, you got chicken, you got beef. Where do you go there? You got to make sure you get some veggies in there and all that. They're megas, that they're very important on them, especially late in life, and getting that right recipe that, is not going to mess them up. So I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for her right now, so here's what I would tell you is when it comes to fresh pet as a general rule, I would say keep her on it right now since she likes it, only because changing it at this juncture would
Right.
be especially when she has her anxiety, her fears, all of the things she's going through
Right.
in regards to her eye issues, etc. Changing anything else right now is not probably going to be
Not a
helpful.
good time. Right.
No,
Okay. That
no.
makes sense.
I
Yes.
mean, I know she's got a few little digestive things, but nothing that we have to worry about at the moment. Everything else
Okay.
needs to be fixed first. So I wouldn't do a whole lot there. What I would probably suggest is we kind of move past that time. Let's relook at some things because it's hard to say again that all dog foods, no matter what they are, whether it's kibble or not, is good or bad. Part of it is the animal itself and what they will eat because let's just say like my dog right now as he's getting older, he stopped eating the chicken, the beef, all of his soft food. We were mixing it for a while only because we had to, because his stools were too loose, right? So we had
Right.
to re-enter the kibble. That's the only reason we did it. I tried to switch over to raw, tried to do those things early on. It was not a good idea. He just got sick all over the place. It was not, he just couldn't handle it. Not a good timing. Had to throw that out completely. We shouldn't be forcing, like a lot of people force their animals. Well, if you don't eat it, you don't get anything, and go that route. And I don't agree with that either.
Right.
So part of it is let's got to find the thing that they will eat. Now, as we move through that kind of period with her as she's changing, I would probably suggest a few things that you could do while she's going through the shift of the other thing, like with the eyes. Give her some treats that might be cooked food that you're cooking. Normally, I would say cook your food for your animal like you would cook your food for your family
Right.
because you are the only one who knows what ingredients are going into that dish. That's
Yes.
really the key with all of us. I would definitely move into, as we move past that phase, you know, you can add things in. I would say chicken. You could do a little bit of fish if she likes fish. I'm always cautious about with the omegas, that kind of thing. Dogs need a different diet than we do as people, but we also have to remember that there's high mercury in all fish. Even if you're
Yes.
doing a fish supplement, I don't care what. I mean, manufacturers are great. They do the best they can. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Technically, though, they cannot get all that mercury out. It still goes in a fish tablet.
Right.
If you're taking a fish, capsule or whatever, it still has traces in it. So if someone has high metals in their body or there's a high mercury, we're getting it in the air, we're getting it everywhere we go, we've got aluminum, all these things are all over the place. We have to start moving things out and moving other things in. So when it comes to the things you can do something about, that's what I say, pay attention to the things that you are willing to do and can do. Now, some people cannot or just don't have the time or the money to cook everything for their pet. And they have to go to the store and just pick up something. So you do the best that you can with what you have. So in that instance, if let's just say if fresh pet's the thing she loves, give her fresh pet, add a few things in. If she does like a little chicken, cooked chicken if you're making chicken, hopefully it's organic free range chicken. Hopefully, so you have to take it to the next level of health the best that you can. If you can't do it, you do what you can. If you can do it, organic is important. Free range, that's important. How the animal that's being slaughtered for someone's food is important.
Right.
Fear is a resonance, just like anything else. We've talked about frequency. People don't want to talk about it, but just because you don't want to talk about it doesn't make it not true. Frequency is in the meats that we eat because the animal that we're eating was just slaughtered. What do you think that emotion is going through the body in the animal that you're eating?
Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
that's why organic or free range, at least farmers, ranchers, people that understand that even if they're doing this is part of our life on our planet, this is what we're accustomed to, then do it in the way that treats the animal to the best possible way that can happen in regards to its livelihood. I mean, if we go back in time and we look at our indigenous people and when they started killing animals, for food, they did it in a very spiritual, honoring way. And when they would herd even the buffalo off a cliff, they weren't the ones taking their lives, but they did ceremonies. They thanked the animals for their service and what they were giving. So again, we have to look at the whole picture if indeed you want to be holistic, right?
Right. Right.
So that's for humans as much as animals, but for to help answer the question is you have to do what's right for you and your pet.
Right.
And sometimes you can't do as much as you like. We don't have all the money in the world. I love my dog, but if he was diagnosed with cancer right now, I'm not going to be able to do anything for him.
Right.
Not only from a financial part, even if I had the dollars, I don't want to put him through that. Right. So it's
Right.
like Missy said earlier, there's quality of life. So do we want to put the animal through that? I've done that before. We've put a pet through cancer treatments and surgeries and spent a ton of money only to give that pet a month's extra of life, and they were not happy. They were not in a good place
Right.
during the month. They were still struggling. They still weren't, so why would we do that? We're the ones holding on to that. So when it comes to our pets, we have to take it, in my book, this is my opinion, but we have to take it a step further. If we truly want to do the right thing for the pet, we have to sit in the energy of the pet. What does the pet want? Right?
Right.
It's not about what we want, because we'll do everything to keep them here. But what does the pet
Yeah.
want? So if the pet wants the kibble, if your pet wants the fresh pet, if your pet wants the raw food and it's doing well for them, give it to them, right?
Right.
Now, on the flip side, don't force it on them if it's not doing well or if it's causing problems. Again, we go back to the things we can do something about. So I know I'm kind of talking longer on this, but I think it's important because a lot of people these days feel guilty that they can't do something more, um, or feel that they really have to change it because they've read so many things that the dog is going to die if they eat kibble, right? Well, okay, maybe that will happen, but maybe it won't. You know, all the love in the world will always surpass a toxin. If you're vibrating in the right frequency, you can help your pet through that. You can change it. Other things can rearrange it. You could do minerals and other things that will help take the harshness of the kibble as far as the manufacturing process out of it.
Right. Yeah. Mix
So
it with something else. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so for your dog right now, I would say just try and do some easy things where you can do the treat would be the cooked chicken or maybe a little some peas, some veggies. Again, fruit is good for dogs. So if they're not used to that, maybe a little treat of a little bit of apple. See if they like it if you've never done
Oh,
that
she
before.
oh she loves apple. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's reasons they like
Yeah.
that. It's healthy for them.
Yep.
So to let you know, too, just quickly, just because it came up when I was talking, your team was saying in regards to what is causing the dry eye for her, what they're saying is that the whole immune system isn't necessarily off because of that. So there was something that happened in a trauma. I kept getting, I think there was an eye thing that she ran herself into something and probably either it got into her eye, she ate something. There was something plant-based, but I think it was outdoors. I can't identify what it is. I don't, I keep asking my team, but they're saying it doesn't matter. So whatever that is.
But
Anyways,
she gets into a lot of stuff. Her little dog, she plows through all my shrubbery bushes out there. She chases rabbits and the quail and the squirrels. She goes after everything. She comes in the house sometimes. She's a mess.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun
Yeah.
part of having an animal.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is something else. It's not food based. She might have ingested it, but it's not food based that's in a typical, like her typical diet is not the cause of her dry eye.
Okay.
Like there's something else that was a trauma that triggered the situation to become bigger than it needed to be, but it's there. I'm seeing her heading into some sort of a plant that poked her in the eye, and it wasn't, but more of a, like I talked about earlier, almost like a poisonous plant to a dog. And whatever it was, or it could have been an allergen, I'm not understanding exactly what it is. And if you want, I can go digging deeper. It
Let's
just
let's
sometimes takes a while.
let's save it for the next time we
Yeah.
revisit
But
her. Yeah, after she's healed up with this eye thing here. Yeah,
yeah, because then we could check her whole system. We could do things when
right.
things are changed.
Yeah,
But anyway, but to help in regards to just finishing that up is that what I initially got and what I'm getting today is that the situation was she, at some point, as she's being rambunctious and having fun, she ran into something that got into her system.
hmm.
I kept seeing through the eye, but it could have been an ingestion of something she ate. But it definitely affected the eye in a way that it couldn't balance itself and systemically had a reaction and infection, right? Caused
Right,
an infection through her system. And that's where the immune system is blown out. That's why we're having an issue there. And the antibiotics, those things, the things that she's doing right now is fine. There are things we can do, like we talked about earlier for Missy, for her dogs in regards to natural antibiotics, but for your trajectory, what you're doing, you have to do that right now for her eyesight. So stick with
right.
the medication they gave you, stick with what you're doing. After that, we'll recheck her. If she is still showing up with an immune system imbalance, then we can look at holistic things, essential oils, natural supplements, because now the other stuff's out of her system and we can see where she's at. And
Okay.
then we can move forward from there.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
fabulous. That sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tam.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm happy to help. Happy to help.
That was a
Yeah.
lot. I need to digest it all first. I
There is a
completely,
lot to digest, but
yeah.
it's so valuable information. It's amazing, and you're amazing, Tam. You're
Oh, well,
amazing, and I can't stress enough for people in our audience out there to connect with you if they feel the slightest bit inclined to. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
well, thank you. I'm here to help, and that's what I do. So hopefully I can assist anyone who needs it. You can contact me, and I'm very happy to check in with your teams and see what they have to say. Thank you. I'm appreciative.
Well, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this special episode with the Wonder Network, where we not only discuss healthy options for humanity, but also your pets, as we've done today here quite a bit. So that's all for now, and we'll see you next time. I'm Michael Lane. Thank you.